Today's video is one that I've been pondering for some time because it is a significant impediment to our vibrational evolution and the onset of future technologies. I'm not sure if it will impact the onset of medbeds, as it has been said that stockpiles are waiting and already secretly in use for some of the most affected beings from this war. But I am directed to patterns and cues, so I am putting some connections together that perhaps you haven't yet. From any standpoint, it's hard to deny that a significant portion of the world has some sort of mental health issue from this 70 years of manipulation and programming. There will be videos linked that contain declassified records and their links in the various government databases for you to confirm that the unimaginable has been going on for a very long time behind your back, but right in front of your face. In fact, deception led to apathy, which brought us to our world today. If we are going to move into a golden age of peace and prosperity, we are going to have to find a way to stop the left from sabotaging our progress and vibrational ascension. This can be very difficult if a mentally ill person is in your life and creating angst. When people exhibit behavior such as over-dramatization, threats to harm others like the president or others, emotional outbursts, or extreme reactions to political events or figures, these may be associated with certain mental health conditions or personality traits. So let's take a look at what we are dealing with. While exhibiting any one particular behavior does not constitute a formal diagnosis based solely on political behavior, we need to look at this situation, the behaviors being exhibited, and the potential etiology or cause. It's clear to understand that political events like elections do not cause mental disorders, but they can trigger or exacerbate symptoms in people who are already vulnerable due to underlying psychological conditions. So I think it's fair to say that people predisposed to mental disorders are being used as weapons in this war. So they are weaponizing everything: the political system, the courts, the media, and yes, the very minds of the people. The root cause of a disorder is usually biological, genetic, developmental, or early environmental factors. A trigger is an external event or situation that activates symptoms of a pre-existing condition. So yes, many of these people that are violently protesting and over-emoting about the election, Trump or Musk, had a pre-existing mental disorder. So a political election is not an etiology, but it can be a trigger, especially when political messaging is intense, fear-based, or polarizing. So this political messaging by the media, the politicians, and ultimately the deep state controllers is designed to act as triggers to unstable people. Please understand that this isn't any sort of shaming or blaming. It's not my opinion. This video about mental illness and triggers is created to pull back the curtain and reveal what has been done to us and those we love. Some might have become vulnerable due to some bad exogenous experiences, such as the death of a loved one, financial lack, or other conditions, and the controllers have simultaneously created so many hardships, hoping to push us over the edge. But if you are watching this video, you get it. You get that they have been trying very hard to control your thoughts and reactions, but you have survived and will continue to thrive because you see it all for what it is: an assault on the people of the world designed to destroy our freedom and deny us of joy. Why? Because low vibrations feed them, make us weak, and allow them to control us. Political propaganda can act as a psychosocial stressor, especially when it uses fear tactics such as "they're coming for your rights." It can also create identity threats by comparing real Americans to outsiders and creating a constant urgency, like we're running out of time. People who are emotionally unstable, prone to black and white thinking, highly suggestible, or have unresolved trauma or poor coping skills may be particularly susceptible to extreme emotional responses like rage, paranoia, despair, or even delusions. Historical and recent examples show how politics can affect mental health. Some examples of psychological reactions to politics include post-election stress disorder. After highly contentious elections, therapists report spikes in anxiety, insomnia, and panic attacks. Victims may experience political delusions where individuals believe political figures are communicating with them personally or that they are part of a conspiracy. Then there is what's known as polarization-induced anxiety, which is when someone starts to see the opposing political side not just as opponents, but as existential threats. How many times have we actually heard this from Democratic politicians? Let's look at a few examples. Both Barack Obama and Joe Biden called global warming an existential threat. Bill Gates, he called the COVID-19 pandemic an existential threat. Hillary Clinton warned us that Donald Trump was an existential threat. Bernie Sanders called economic inequality and climate change existential threats to both democracy and human survival. Both Elon Musk and Chuck Schumer have called artificial intelligence an existential threat, and Donald Trump warned us that the deep state is an existential threat. So, just to be clear, let's define exactly what an existential threat is. It's a danger that poses the potential to destroy, fundamentally undermine, or permanently alter the survival or core identity of a person, group, nation, or humanity as a whole. Personally, from what I understand, the only existential threats that I see are artificial intelligence and the deep state. Global warming, economic inequality, and Donald Trump will not cause the extinction of humanity. But artificial intelligence and the deep state, well, they have that power, as we recently saw with the COVID-19 maneuver. While the term existential threat is powerful, it can also be rhetorically manipulative, depending on the speaker's intent. It's often used to justify extreme policy changes, rally support through fear or urgency, and to frame opponents as dangerously irresponsible. This is what we have been witnessing. Now that we know what's been done to the people of the world, let's look at how in the world this is ever going to get fixed. There are ways that you can help your affected friends and loved ones, or even yourself, if you find yourself unhappy and unable to deal with the political changes that have happened. The goal here is to help or prevent escalation by encouraging emotional regulation and healthy, not harmful skepticism. Do this by limiting exposure to triggering circumstances, like reducing the overconsumption of biased or inflammatory media. I've heard many of you say that you sometimes just have to pull away from the drama, so that you understand that's actually the healthy way to deal with it, so it doesn't end up affecting the quality of your life. You want to support open dialogue or respectful conversations, and really reduce those echo chamber effects from constant consumption. I get it. It's unbelievable. Sometimes it's even detestable, but it's like a train wreck that you just can't look away from. Lastly, encourage people to get mental health support when their responses to politics become dysfunctional or extreme. Now let's look at the particular mental health conditions or personality traits that are associated with behaviors such as overdramatization, threats to harm others, emotional outbursts, or extreme reactions to political events or figures. First is histrionic personality disorder, which is characterized by excessive emotionality, attention-seeking behavior, overdramatization of situations, being easily influenced by others or trends, and inappropriate behavior to gain approval. Next time you go to a gay pride event, you'll see an abundance of every one of these behaviors. We also see this in Trump derangement syndrome. So, people with a need for attention are typically very easy to enlist into deep state agendas. Then there is someone with underlying borderline personality disorder, which is different than bipolar disorder, which is more cyclical. People with borderline personality disorder exhibit intense emotional instability, a fear of abandonment, impulsive actions, difficulty controlling anger, and are prone to self-harm or threats toward others in emotional distress. Then there is narcissistic personality disorder, which may include a grandiose sense of self-importance. These people lack empathy and have a fragile self-esteem. They exhibit intense reactions to criticism or defeat and can become aggressive if their self-image is threatened. Lastly, there's a condition known as intermittent explosive disorder, which involves sudden episodes of unwarranted anger, aggressive outbursts that are often way out of proportion to the situation. This is common in many spousal or child abusers, but not exclusively. Any inappropriately violent person could have tendencies toward intermittent explosive disorder. Now let's look at a term that's been thrown around quite a bit: derangement syndrome, like Trump derangement syndrome. This is not a medical diagnosis, but more of an informal political label. These are not recognized in the DSM-5 or any official psychiatric guidelines. However, the term is used to describe emotional dysregulation in response to political beliefs, extreme polarization, and confirmation bias, which is an echo chamber. I'd like to simplify that. Derangement syndrome is basically characterized by encouraging extreme emotions in response to politics. It also supports polarization and confirms it through echo chambers, such as social media. In summary, elections are not the cause of mental disorders, but they can trigger extreme responses in people with pre-existing vulnerabilities. Political propaganda can escalate these reactions, especially if it plays on fear, identity, or trauma. And it's not permanent. Victims can be helped. It has been on my mind for some time. How are we going to heal the people of the world who have been so mentally tormented by this dark operation to divide us? When we can't make our own streets safe, how can we secure advanced technologies? I can tell you that our ability to manage and secure medbeds and higher technologies is crucial. I say this because my friend Dan had shared that he asked Jenhan Eredian about a certain sacred geometry configuration, and he was denied access because it is the secret to how worlds are powered. So apparently they can't take risks with this technology, even with those who can be trusted. There are so many of us who have fractured families and fractured minds. The sheer volume of these disorders discussed made me wonder, how could this be accomplished? There had to be a plan to fix the minds of the people again so we can be happy and enjoy the future. We can't drop drugs from the sky. We can't forcefully put most of them into mental hospitals. How are we going to fix this? And then the answer came. Recently, I noticed heavy advertising on YouTube that has this almost haunting song with a clever clay figure that holds your attention. It's singing questions about emotional issues that you might have, such as nervous system burnout and mental blocks holding you back. Specifically, I remembered a phrase used called a broke mentality. When I looked into it, I learned that it's a mental health app. It's true that there are other mental health apps, and that's not the point. The fact that it's being heavily advertised at this particular moment in time is what I look at. Is this how we are going to heal the world, through apps where you can self-diagnose and self-treat yourself with quizzes? It's really quite an ingenious way to reach people who are having difficulty navigating these times. So there is hope to raise the collective frequency so that we can evolve to the point necessary to emerge into a spacefaring, technologically advanced society. Perhaps we might even see such apps or self-healing for mental health websites as humanitarian projects. The need to mass healing is acute, and now I see hope that it can be done. So I just wanted to share this with you. So many people could benefit from mental health care and learning healthy habits. If you know someone who's struggling, share this video, and of course don't forget to do all the other buttons too. Until next time, there's something I'd like to leave you with. Mental healing begins the moment you stop pretending you're fine.